In Genesis 29, Jacob's journey continues as he reaches Haran, the land of his relatives. After a long journey, he meets shepherds at a well and asks about Laban, his mother's brother. The shepherds inform Jacob that they know Laban and that his daughter, Rachel, is about to arrive with her flock. When Rachel arrives, Jacob is deeply moved and, in an act of great strength and determination, rolls away the heavy stone covering the well, allowing her to water her flock. Jacob then reveals his identity to Rachel, and she runs to tell her father. Laban welcomes Jacob warmly, and he begins to live with the family, working for them. Jacob falls in love with Rachel, and when Laban asks what he wants in return for his labor, Jacob asks for her hand in marriage. Laban agrees, and Jacob works for 7 years to win her, years that pass quickly due to his love for her. However, on the wedding day, Laban deceives Jacob and gives him his eldest daughter Leah instead of Rachel. Jacob is shocked, but Laban argues that it is customary to marry the eldest daughter first. In a new agreement, Jacob agrees to work another 7 years to marry Rachel. He eventually takes her as his wife, but the tension and rivalry between Leah and Rachel begins to unfold, bringing complexity and conflict to Jacob's life. Stay with us until the end for an inspiring message that could change your life. Biblical insight. Genesis 29 reveals profound themes about love, perseverance, and the consequences of deception. Jacob, who deceived his brother Esau and his father Isaac in order to receive the blessing, now faces Laban's deception, feeling the impact of a similar deception. This event is often seen as a lesson in divine justice, showing that deception can return to the one who practices it. Jacob's willingness to work 7 years, and then 7 more, for Rachel's sake highlights his perseverance and the power of love that drives him to endure any sacrifice. However, the introduction of Leah into the story brings a new set of challenges and rivalries. Although Jacob deeply loves Rachel, Leah feels rejected, and her grief reflects themes of loneliness and the desire for acceptance. Leah and Rachel's struggle for recognition and value points to the complexities of human nature and family relationships. Furthermore, God's promise to Jacob continues to unfold as, despite the challenges, his family grows and multiplies, fulfilling the promise of a great offspring. Genesis 29 reminds us that God's path often includes trials and sacrifices, and that he uses even challenges to shape the character and faith of those who follow him. Archaeological context. The setting of Genesis 29, centered on Haran and shepherding practices, reflects the cultural and economic realities of the ancient Near East. Haran was an important trade and caravan center, linked to routes connecting Canaan, Mesopotamia, and Egypt. Excavations at Tel Haran indicate that the city flourished as a strategic junction, which explains its importance to Abraham's family. The well where Jacob meets Rachel was more than a meeting place. In semi-arid regions, wells were essential for survival and trade, and disputes over them were common. The description of Jacob removing the heavy stone covering the well indicates a common practice in the region, where stones were used to protect water sources from contamination and access by outsiders. The practice of arranged marriages, with compensation for labor or dowries, was also typical of the time. In Haran, the custom of marrying the eldest daughter before the youngest, mentioned by Laban in justifying his deception, is consistent with the social customs of that region. The patriarchal culture and family relationships in Jacob's narrative reflect the values of loyalty, hard work, and the importance of family alliances in the ancient world. Biblical studies. Genesis 29 is a chapter that has been studied intensively by theologians because of its rich layers of spiritual and moral meaning. The story of Jacob's love for Rachel and his willingness to work 14 years for her is often seen as a demonstration of the transformative power of love and patience. Jacob's disappointment in being deceived by Laban is interpreted by many scholars as a lesson in cause and effect. The deception he committed comes back to him. This situation is used to explore the theme of God's justice, which allows Jacob to face the consequences of his past actions. In addition, the contrast between Rachel and Leah is subject to various interpretations. Rachel, the beloved, and Leah, the rejected, represent the challenges of rivalry and the search for acceptance. Leah's story is seen as a powerful message about the value and purpose of each individual, even when they are not valued by others. At the end of the chapter, Leah is blessed with children, highlighting the idea that God sees and cares for everyone, including the marginalized. This rivalry between the sisters also points to themes of jealousy and competition, which are reflected in the future history of Israel and the tensions between the tribes. Archaeological discoveries. Archaeological discoveries at Haran and at sites associated with the Jacob narrative shed light on the practices and traditions of the time. Excavations at Tel Haran have revealed documents and tablets that record family and business practices, including labor contracts and marriage agreements, similar to Jacob's labor contract with Laban. These tablets also mention the practice of offering labor in exchange for marriage, reflecting the reality of the time. Haran was a city known for its religious and commercial connections, with temples dedicated to Mesopotamian gods, showing the cultural mix that existed between Abraham's family and local practices. Excavations in the Haran region of modern-day Turkey reveal evidence of wells and fortified water sources that protected and served the local community. The discovery of large stones that protected wells provides context for Jacob's act of moving the stone to help Rachel. Additionally, documents such as the Code of Hammurabi record laws about marriage and family, including clauses about primogeniture and family customs. This archaeological evidence supports the cultural authenticity of the narrative and provides a broader understanding of the values and customs that shaped Jacob's story. Connecting the past to the present. The story of Jacob, Rachel, and Leah in Genesis 29 is strikingly timely in its themes of love, sacrifice, and rivalry. Jacob's dedication to Rachel and his willingness to work for years in exchange for her marriage is a reflection of the power of love and the importance of commitment in true relationships, something we still value today. Laban's betrayal and Jacob's experience of being deceived make us reflect on the importance of honesty and the consequences of human actions. Leah, who finds herself in a difficult and unwanted position, represents the universal desire to be accepted and valued, especially within one's own family. The rivalry between Leah and Rachel, born of a search for love and recognition, reflects situations in which competition and comparison become obstacles to peace and harmony. In the modern world, this story speaks to the importance of authenticity and acceptance of differences in family and interpersonal relationships. Ultimately, the chapter reminds us that God sees the value of each person and that, often, today's suffering and challenges are part of a greater purpose. The story of Genesis 29 inspires us to face our personal struggles and seek relationships based on true love, patience, and understanding. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And remember, each day is a new opportunity to call on the name of the Lord. Until next time.